Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Damian Nelson here of the Pro Wrestling Report on TV and radio with the Motor City Machine Guns. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin here in Orlando, Florida. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of time here on the Pro Wrestling Report. Let's talk about the Motor City Machine Guns and how that came to be one of the best and most recognized tag teams in the world of professional wrestling.
Okay. Well, we first started teaming in 01 Max in Tokyo, Japan. They were the first company to put us together as a team, and actually our first match together, we managed to win their tag team titles, which was a great honor. And we held those titles for a bit over a year before we lost them again in Tokyo, Japan. From there, we did independent shows across the U.S., and finally TNA decided to pull the trigger, no pun intended, and put us together here as well.
And we saw both of you in a lot of singles competition before the Motor City Machine Guns came about. And like I said, obviously one of the most exciting tag teams in the business. We get a lot of viewers, a lot of listeners who call in and tell us about how much they love the Motor City Machine Guns. We do a feature each week, actually, with the top three, if you will. You guys make it many a time. So, currently, professional wrestling. Got several organizations out there, obviously. TNA, the one you're participating in right now. What is the most exciting element of this era of professional wrestling in your mind, Mr. Sabin?
I think the most exciting aspect is a lot of wrestling, a lot of the styles of wrestling are becoming blended. Like a lot of people nowadays, especially in the X division, blend a lot of like Mexican style wrestling, a lot of Japanese style wrestling. So you get to see a little taste of everything. And I think that if I was a fan, I would be really excited to watch that. And even though I'm just a fan of watching the other X division guys wrestle, just to watch what they do and everything. So I think like the blend of styles is just one example of why wrestling is so exciting nowadays.
Backing up just a little bit, as I said, both of you had some singles time in TNA before coming together as the Motor City Machine Guns, and as you said, a lot leading up to that as well. But how did you first break into the professional wrestling business? How did you first make that big break?
Getting into professional wrestling is much like getting into any other trade. You have to go to specialty school to train for that. We both started training when we were 18 at Scott DeMore's camp, Can-Am Wrestling School in Windsor, Ontario. And from there, you get out of the pro wrestling business that you put into a lot of time and effort into that. Sleeping in our cars, eating cans of tuna, driving.
Tuna's very popular.
Very popular and very nutritious, and most importantly, it's cheap.
Yeah.
Driving all across the U.S. and doing small shows in front of little people. Then eventually you climb the ranks and you're lucky enough to get noticed by TNA.
Mr. Sabin.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much said most of it. Started as soon as I graduated high school, I knew that I wanted to get into wrestling, so I went to wrestling school right there. And from there, like he said, it was just trying to work your way up the ladder. It was rough, but we're fortunate to be in this spot.
Tag teams that influenced you getting into the business, if you will, when you were growing up. There's always this argument about what is the greatest tag team of all time, and obviously the names that are mentioned, the Legion of Doom, Demolition, the Rock and Roll Express. What tag team most influenced you?
I didn't necessarily watch them growing up because they were a bit ahead of my time. However, I think as far as the older tag teams go, the one we try to pattern ourselves after the most often is probably the Midnight Express, which works greatly to our benefit considering that Jim Cornette is involved so heavily with this company. Yeah. He's been a coach of sorts for us and managed to help us out quite a bit.
How about you?
Yeah, Jim Cornette has been really big help to us. He actually gave us a big pack of Midnight Express DVDs for us to watch and study. So yeah, being able to watch those and study those, I mean, that helped us out a lot. It helps us a lot with our own tag moves. Yeah.
There's a lot of people who question the physicality, the risk-taking, if you will, that's involved in the X Division and even across the board in TNA wrestling and professional wrestling. Do you ever really worry, or do you think that you're potentially giving too much at times and risking your body more so than you would want to?
Quite frankly, at the end of the day, so we're both weighing under 200, both 5'10". We have to use our bodies as weapons. We're smaller, we're faster, we're more agile. Those are our attributes. If we didn't use those, what else would we do?
Valid point. And pure excitement and energy. Being a fan of the business and watching the team grow over the last few years, it's been amazing to watch the progression of the Motor City Machine Guns and the synergy that is there. It really hasn't been seen in the tag team wrestling world for quite a long time. So we, as of course, thank you for that. TNA obviously getting its big comeuppance, if you will, going into Bound for Glory 4 in just a few weeks in Chicago, Illinois, just south of where we are emanating from on television. Bound for Glory, obviously not a lot of matches announced yet, but what are your hopes? What do you want to be a part of in Bound for Glory?
Well, I mean, if I could pick anything, obviously, I'm going to go for the tag team championship belts. I mean, I think that's the top of the mountain for any tag team that's in pro wrestling. Is the very best has the tag team championship belts. And I think for us, Chicago, it's not too far from Detroit, so it's not too far from home. So, I mean, I'm not sure. I know we're going to be some part of Bound for Glory, and hopefully it's going to be something of this.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. The Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin here on the Pro Wrestling Report. And don't forget, Bound for Glory, October 12th, the Sears Center in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. SearsCenter.com for tickets for that event. This is Damian Nelson for the Pro Wrestling Report.